the city's plans and what have you always put on hold. First, you're damaged more than what you think you are, then the city comes back through, and then they tell you a year later, okay, yeah, you can rebuild. But then, of course, a year's gone by. Most people couldn't withstand that, you know. So they basically sold out or had to move out. Banks are crashing at that time. There wasn't people loaning money. So unless you had 88 grade credit or 2 incomes, you were forced to live in home there for a year. So
now they did do some trailers and things like that to help some people, but
right.
But that wasn't very nice either.
They didn't help us.
Put you way out there so you couldn't come in and rebuild.
You put a lien on family, and you know that becomes a burden on everybody else because they're struggling just as well as to meet day to day.
But you left for a while too, right?
Oh yeah, I was gone for a year. Stayed with my brother, my mother. In Des Moines.
Yeah, I was going to say Des Moines, I thought I heard.
And then, of course, you know, then the water started getting high down there as soon as I got down there, so they just figured I was the wrong kiki to have around.
Exactly.
So,
good thing you didn't come to Arizona then.
That's right,
yeah.
That's right.
So,
I tan real easy, and I hear down there, you know, no green card, no pass.
There you go, that's what I was trying to help out.
Yeah.
Tell them how much help you've had.
Well, we don't qualify for help because we're in the zoned areas, green zone. Actually, right here is where the wall is supposed to come right straight through here.
A wall from who?
That is the wall.
What wall? From who?
The construction zone. Yeah. The levee wall.
From?
One of the plans.
From the Army Corps of Engineers?
Yeah. Is it the city that did it?
Well, that's the confusing part because nobody was really in control to begin with. I mean, there was 3 different plans. People had the city, then they had the Corps, and of course, you know, people had homes. So their plan was to rebuild. The city's plan never came really out because they just weren't experienced in that kind of devastation. So they basically were just waiting for federal guidance.
Tell us what to do.
But then, of course, you know, if it takes you 5 days to get clean water to the Superdome, you better not count on the federal government bailing you out of deep waters.
And from what I read, and you know, again, coming from Scottsdale, Arizona, the help was really from the people.
Yeah, you basically, well, you know, some people got carried away. That's why some of the homes had to get torn down, you know, because nobody had any guidance, you know, on how to do a flood, you know.
Right, or how to tear it.
If you get crazy and tear down your home, you know, then you don't have nothing to rebuild. Basically, you know, you got to kind of take it slow first, but then you got to be aggressive. But the city, you know, never really gave options well enough for people who want to not live back here. If you were, some of us were insured. 600 out of 4,000 people were insured.
600 out of 4,000.
Yeah, had flood insurance. And then there's a lot of people stating that you couldn't buy flood insurance in certain spots. Which I don't understand that. You know, they always told me I could buy floods.
Because even after the last floods 35 years ago, they had flood insurance.
Yeah, if you were outside of a floodplain,
they were telling them they couldn't purchase.
If you're in one, they can't deny it to you.
They can't purchase it after the last flood, or?
Well, before the flood, some people said they tried to purchase flood insurance.
Right.
And said they were denied because they were outside the floodplain.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then they were flooded.
Yeah, the flood went outside. It made it outside of the range of where a 500-year floodplain was.
Right. I mean,
so some of those people outside that, you know, they can't get insurance if they wanted it.
We live in Arizona, so we had flood. You can always get flood insurance depending on if you can afford it or not. So,
right.
A lot of it's an issue of cost, not an issue of do they accept it or deny. And then it depends on the insurance companies too, because you know, like.
Right.
Well, it's federal insurance.
Well, see, like
right, but an American family might say, no, that's great, you can have it, but we don't offer that.
See, you guys,
we cover your house, but we don't offer.
And a lot of yours is like a flash flood type thing, right?
Right. But we still have a floodplain in an area. We know where the city
classified.
We have a lot of golf courses.
See, the way I understand it is the feds, if you're at a floodplain, then they can't deny you flood insurance.
Yeah,
but if you're not, it's like next to impossible.
We have real estate. So
it's required.
Yeah.
In a floodplain,
but that was
the mortgage will require it.
Yeah, but
the lenders won't let you buy a house.
Yeah, the mortgage
company. Right.
On the flood insurance. And I was able to, just because of the pure cost, I downsized mine just for first floor and foundation.
Right.
So it saved me money and it gave me enough money to rebuild, but if I had even insured it for full value, the flood they would never have declared it full value damage. city doesn't allow you to put it back in because the federal law is only 50% back in of substantial damage.
Okay.
So say if I had $80,000 worth of damage, I'd only be allowed to put $50,000 in. That's if my assessed value
Is 100.
assessed at 100.
Wait, say that again for me.
See?
City,
Doing- trying to do the
back
math.
and assess the value of your home.
Okay.
So if your assessed value is, like they said, this is only 66,000.
Okay.
They'd only allow me to put 33,000 back into the home.
Yeah, if he spends more than 33,000 back into this house, then he will have done more than what the 50% of the value was. And if your place is more than 50% damaged, then you're required to comply
With
with
the new
updated federal flood, codes, and which means that he would have to fill
Raise
his
the
basement,
house
jack
20
his house
feet.
up 1 foot above, the floodplain level.
Right.
And fill the basement, because it's actually the first floor has to be 1 foot higher. The first usable space has to be 1
And
foot
I found a
higher.
house down the block, so you guys can drive over and show me.
And we're a little
Is there only
higher
one
here,
that
but
did
still,
that?
Yeah,
let's get
there's
his
only
house
one.
up here
Which
somewhere.
is next to my
And
childhood
it's a
friend's
stairway.
neighbor.
We call the house a stairway to nowhere.
Stairway to heaven.
There is no stairway to that.
You call it the stairway to nowhere. I
Yeah.
call it the stairway to heaven.
Right?
I'll go down the